Wizard of Oz is in the back, ready to. I just call her the Wizard of Oz every month when she materializes after the meeting's over. All right, we'll call to order the monthly meeting of the Fargo Park District on Tuesday, September 5th. Is there a motion to approve the order of the agenda? Or actually, I guess to the deputy directors, do we have any changes to the agenda as presented? None?
Nope, no changes.
Thank you.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Jeff, please poll the board.
Commissioner Morgan,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Rosted. Yes. Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to number one, recognition of the audience and public comments. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make public comment tonight at our meeting? Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so at this time, the board will hear comments from the public. We ask that each speaker who has signed up to address the board come up to the microphone and state their name and address for the record. We would also ask that the speakers refrain from using this forum to criticize or complain about a specific employee by name. The board is interested in your comments and will listen carefully, but is not obligated to respond to or debate issues in this forum. Should you desire a written response to a specific question, you may request it. This evening, each speaker will be allotted a maximum of 3 minutes. As a point of order, if any speaker wishes to talk later in the agenda, comments are limited only to the agenda item at hand, and speakers must first be recognized by one of the park board presidents before coming up to the microphone. Otherwise, the speaker may be ruled out of order and additional measures may be taken up to and including removal from the meeting. The Fargo Park Board president, however, does not have to engage in dialogue with the addition of speakers. We ask that you respect this request and act accordingly. I appreciate you guys coming. Would one of you like to come up to the podium and speak? Are you both going to speak or just one of you? Okay. Yes, please, sir. If you'd state your name and your address, we'd appreciate it.
Good evening, Tom Crawford. My address is 914 76th Avenue South, Fargo. I'm just here to invite board members, directors, commissioners. Our property backs up to the Orchard Glen Forest River Parks. October 12th to 23rd, or 2023 at 9 a.m. We're having a meeting with Park Board. September. Oh, September. All right. Never
See, he
mind.
needs you.
See?
He needs you.
When you come to these, come prepared. So,
September 12th, the 20th. Okay.
so at 9 a.m. in the morning, we're having a meeting with Park Board directors, correct? I'm not sure who's all showing up, but it's, there's been to our understanding, and we found out through the article in the forum, nobody informed us, but there's going to be additions out there, new trails, shelters, vault toilets, I don't know what all, but nobody was informed. And we've had several meetings with directors out there that were going to keep us informed. We feel like we're not being heard. People, whoever shows up, and there's been many changes in directors, but nothing ever happens for us. Or it just seems like we're not being heard. So we have concerns, and we're hoping to get those points across to commissioners, board members, directors, whoever will listen, and just see if we can make this a community thing. I understand the reason for the park, but there's concerns that there's residences still out there that we have concerns, and we're just trying to get our points across. So it's just an invite to whoever can come make it, and please listen to the community that lives there. Thank you.
So it's next Tuesday morning. So that's September 12th, 9 a.m. And where? What's
It's in the Orchard Orchard Glen parking lot.
Oh, in the parking lot. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you guys taking the time to come and speak to us today, and appreciate the invitation. As you said, several of our directors will be at that meeting as well. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to number 2, the director's report. Paper, rock, scissors, or?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few updates. Actually, this was one of them, believe it or not. I know we started educating commissioners last week of the concerns from the neighbors down in the Orchard Glen, Forest Hills area. With the help of some of the residents down there, we have a meeting scheduled, as was alluded to just a minute ago, on the 12th at 9 a.m. And so several of us from the Park District staff will be there to explain, what amenities and what improvements we're hopeful to make. There'll also be a representative from Cass County Engineering there to talk about the particulars of what can and cannot be done on the parcels of land, and we've been in consultation with them. And also Sheriff Jesse Johnner is going to be there, as was alluded. We've had a changeover in a number of positions, and so some of the meetings that were alluded to, not all of us have been to. And so even for the Park District staff, it's an opportunity for us to get an understanding of what are some of the concerns and thoughts of the neighbors there that we share property with, and gain an understanding of each other's position, and just have a good discussion is our hope. So you're all welcome, as you know, and we didn't get to all the commissioners because we started just last week with our individual meetings that Susan and I have with each of you. So that's one of the updates I have. Another update is fall.
Before we move on.
Yes.
So 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, a work day, are we comfortable that we get enough representation, or do we need to think about an after hours meeting or something that be more accommodating to people that might be working, or have you worked through that?
We haven't done that just yet, Commissioner Rosted. Really, we're taking the lead from the organizers in the neighborhood that had put a few times out there. And this is the one that we responded back that worked best for us, as did other entities of when to meet. So, I think we would have the stance as we're willing to meet anytime with anyone, that we try and make that more accommodating. So perhaps if there's an additional meeting after this, we can look at those options.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask, there was a little reference that you made to properties that are still on the in Orchard Glen that might be dangerous. Is that true? I've never heard of that before, so that's why I'm interested.
I don't believe I've ever heard that any of the properties are dangerous. So I guess I'm not sure what,
I just didn't know what the reference was.
If you're speaking to me, I don't know if I said dangerous, but this article in the Forum calls it vacated properties. Well, to us, it's not vacated. There's 30 houses still out there that aren't being listened to. And yes, we feel like a meeting started years ago, going to be a nature park, very few improvements, and it's just, again and again, more and more and more, and it's traffic, and it's late night, and it's speeding, and it's drinking, and drugs, and it's...
Thanks, Tom.
Oh.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just guess that what I misunderstood was the separation between Orchard Glen itself as a park and what you're talking about is your residences.
Well,
Sounds like next Tuesday morning
yeah,
at 9 a.m.
exactly.
would be a really wonderful time to
Yeah, next
dive
Tuesday
deeper
morning
into
at 9
that.
a.m. We got our directors there, and we'll definitely hear that through and try to come to some resolution. So thank you. Okay, keeping on with where you're at with that.
all right.
Thank you.
Another update is our Fall in Fargo event is starting at Row Farm. That's our celebration of fall, and that is running September 16th and 17th, and then the weekend again after that are the 23rd and 24th. So that's a well sought after and look forward to event, I know, in our community. And then also another point of notice is on the 29th of September at Broadway Square will be the JLG Rocks street concert. And so put that on your calendar. I know that was one that the downtown and surrounding community enjoyed in previous years. So that's all I've got.
Who's playing?
I actually do have that here. I believe Fabulous Armadillos.
Oh, they're
and
really good.
100 proof.
Yeah,
Thought it was going to
fabulous.
be Dave Beats Band.
That's not a skill I possess.
You're going to need 100 proof if you're going to do that.
What time does that start? Do you know? Or I can find it later.
I don't know. Oh, I do. 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the Armadillos are actually Bobby V's son. That's his band.
So it should be good then.
Should be, yeah, they're very popular.
I think one of the singers lives in Fargo.
Could be. What's his name?
That's female. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So I just have one quick update to add to the director's report. So our marketing and HR teams are collaborating to create a new standardized internship program for the Park District called Forge. The Park District currently, we hire seasonal staff in different departments, but this is, I think, a more of a collaborative approach where the internship would actually be related to specifically their field of study. So the hope with this program is that we would be providing, I think, a real valuable experience for students as they enter into their careers here at the Park District or wherever else they choose to work. The program would also include an element that the interns from different areas would also meet monthly. So there's a little bit of that networking and some interaction. Again, currently, interns in each area work primarily within those departments. So looking forward to that. More information to come, but the goal there is to have that program up and running in February. So.
So on that note, are you working with specific institutions or how's that working?
Stacy?
Yeah, as of right now, we're kind of just planning the specifics of it, like what it would pertain. But each,
Stacy, sorry, can you go up to the microphone? Thank you.
potentially each candidate or employee would bring forth what they either need it for an internship class, or as long as it's in their field of study, we would count it as an internship with us. So we would hope that, like we usually right now have a lot of interns coming from NDSU. We would like to expand this out. Once we get the program rolling, hopefully MSUM would come on board, and Concordia and others that have the same fields that we are offering.
I know like Dakota College of Botano's got a forestry program, so let's talk offline. I'd be happy to advertise that more broadly than just the
Thank you,
community.
Commissioner. Yes.
Is that it? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to number 3, board to consider for approval updated Valley Senior Services Transit Title VI Plan. Paul Grindland and Cindy Girdner are up to, and Cindy, now my understanding is Paul's not here, and so this is going to be your first go all by yourself. Brian used to do this to Paul all the time, so don't worry.
So you lost the rock, paper, scissors is what happened.
To the not feeling well.
Oh.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. So thank you for inviting me tonight, but yes, I am a solo act for this evening. I am here to ask for approval for our Title VI plan. It has been submitted to your packets. There is no major changes in our Title VI plan for the 3-year update. So this is just a basic approval. Once you approve it, then I will take it to DOT and ask for DOT's approval. It is a plan that we've worked with for quite a while. There is some word changes as of their template from DOT, but other than that, there is not any other major changes that have happened with our Title VI.
Well, like most of the things Paul brought to us, Cindy, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You're not asking us for a bucket of money or anything else.
Not yet. Yet.
No, that's the beauty of Valley Senior Services. When they come asking to spend money, they bring the money with them when
That's
they
right.
ask permission. to
That's right.
spend.
Well, we'll see about that.
Uh-oh.
So I will move that we approve the updated Valley Senior Services Transit Title VI plan as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the updated Valley Senior Services, let's see, Title VI plan as presented. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Jeff, please pull the board.
Commissioner Morgan,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Cindy. You can tell Paul you did a great job when he threw you a curveball
He
today.
can watch it. He can
Yeah,
see.
or maybe he's out there. All right, moving on to number 4, board to discuss the timeline and establish next steps for the executive director position. As you know, on June 30th, we had a special board meeting. And as a result of decisions made in that special board meeting, we also made a decision to name both Susan and Dave as co-interim executive directors. It was something we needed to do at the time, obviously, to move forward, especially into a holiday weekend. But we've since had some discussions about that and the layout of who reports to who goes to who with questions and whatever else. And there's been some discussion about changing up some of that role and looking at a specific at least month in the future to decide how we're going to proceed with filling the executive director position permanently. So Dave, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I know through our individual meetings that Susan and I have had with each of you over the course of the last really about almost 2 months, we presented, well, first of all, thank you because you asked us for what is kind of our thoughts and feelings as we move forward in this transition time. So I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you for that first and foremost. Secondly, I know we brought to you a couple of different options for this interim type period, however long that might be, that, when the decision was made to insert both Susan and I as co-leads, it's quite frankly created a lot of challenges. In some of those challenges, you observe just a little piece of it tonight. Like, are you going or am I going, right? And I think even the commission can agree. It's created inefficiencies for you as well, as if you were going to talk to me, then you felt that obligation. Well, now I should update Susan on what's there. So take that which you felt personally and then expound it across all of our teams throughout the district. It's really been, it's just added a lot. It's added a lot of inefficiencies. I think, we're confident we have the work covered. We've got great people here. But at the same time, Susan and I had a lot of, heartfelt, good, deep conversations about what's best for this park district. And we both, and I don't want to speak for Susan, but I did ask for, Dr. Joe to be able to say this to you tonight. One of the options we really think and feel is the best option for the interim period of this duration of the next process would be to name Susan as the sole interim director. And for all the reasons I stated, that's going to really help us out as an organization. It's going to keep us moving forward at the rate at which we hope to still achieve and keep. It's going to create these efficiencies that I've talked about that is going to really streamline things. And it's a tough thing when we have an organization the size of ours as to having 2 different people in charge of it simultaneously. It just creates a lot of, unsure of who to do and what to say and who to go talk to. And so we really hope that as you're deliberating tonight and talking about, I know you've got a lot of options on your plate, that you will at least consider that option coming from a staff person here and really looking forward to what is going to be the best for our park district.
I think clarity is the word, right? Maybe it was a little more lack of clarity. And I think I spoke to both of you about, well, I don't want to call, if I call Susan first, is that, you know, I'm concerned that that sends a message to Dave that, you know, there's kind of this choice. And I think it kind of makes sense from the employee standpoint as well, right? Of, well, who technically, do I have to meet with both of them, or you know, how does that all work? And I just want to say I applaud both of you for the job that you have done as the kind of co-directors, and the fact that I know, you know, you presented this option, and just what a testament to how well the two of you work together, and that both of you were able to kind of present this to us. You know, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I just like to say too, as far as I understand, you have been sorting through some of the responsibilities that need to be clarified, as you said, at a point of confusion. So things should start to even out a little bit. And I think especially with this move forward for Susan to be the interim director, it clarifies everything.
And
in my
initially, you know, we thought it would be a little easier than it was, where, you know, in November, we chose to split the organization into two divisions. And so seemingly it would be, well, if things fall on Dave's side of the division, that's who you go talk to. And if things fall on Susan's side of the organization, that's who you go talk to. The thing that I think is most challenging is there's a whole lot in between that kind of touch both, but yet fall in the middle. And we desperately need a true singular leader to help make Commissioner Morgan's point. That's exactly right.
So did you run into scenarios of mom versus dad situations?
Not
You don't
with
have to
any
answer that.
regularity, but that there's an opportunity where that could have happened.
You don't have to answer
Yeah.
that. So in all seriousness, I'd like to applaud the two of you and the whole Park District staff for the past 2 months, adjusting to the changes that were made, and just smelling like a rose. They're doing a great job. The whole Park District staff's doing a great job, and I want to just publicly commend all of them for the hard work. And, you know, it's more than, you know, just an individual. It's an entire organization. And I think you guys are just doing great.
Thank you.
It's been enjoyable to watch you two work together and see the camaraderie and just the team effort. And I'll talk to one of you and you'll say great things about the other, and then I'll talk to the opposite one and they'll say it's just a great team, and it's really enjoyable to be part of. So thank you. And I appreciate, Dave, you being willing to speak how you feel and what you think the best thing for the Park District is, because that's a pretty big deal to do that. So thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, the kind of logistics of
I got
how
one
this
more
would.
thing
Oh,
in here
yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
So, just I have a quick question for you. So let's just say that, you know, I'm going to entertain a timeline of about December for us to try to to start making a permanent decision about filling that role. With that notion, are you comfortable? Like, where's your view on what you think the model currently has 2 deputies? What would you, I mean, with that timeline and obviously moving forward in December, or at least with a timeline, a heavy timeline in December, are you comfortable with, what are you comfortable with, I guess, in that scenario?
Yeah, if I understand the question correctly, I would be comfortable with that. And truly any duration that the commission chooses, you know, to enact the next steps of finding the you know, full-time replacement, I'll say, for Dave Leaker. With that, I think that's going to position us the best during that time frame, this interim time frame between now and then, with having Susan be the sole person that's going to clean up and create all those efficiencies that we've talked about.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as you being a sole deputy director during that period
Gotcha.
of time, or do we need to backfill that deputy position too?
I don't believe so, Mr. President. I think, you know, that's where, in my mind, I think we're on top of the work aspects, and we're making sure that we're not dropping any piece of the business. And really, that's a testament to the teams and the people that we work with. And, you know, everybody without sounding too cliche-ish, has risen to the occasion, and it really is Park District first, and what is the best things here, and how do we have a continuation and make sure that we're not, creating a lack of service or providing, not providing what we need to provide. And so, until such time as a executive is named and seated, I think then might be a discussion of what does the overall structure look like. Again, I think that's something Susan and I and other directors are committed to, is always constantly looking at our organization and being fluid and adapting and figuring out what is the best thing for us to move forward.
So operationally, we would have one interim executive director. You then would be deputy director of operations, and then we'd essentially have a deputy director of administration still kind of,
So you-
the position would still be there?
I would recommend that. Yeah.
we would
Okay,
be
okay,
holding
yeah.
that position
Yeah.
open
Yep.
should, well,
Uh,
if Susan took the job,
Yeah.
Susan would need that position to be able to go back to.
Yes.
Those are part of the conversation
Potentially.
Susan and I had, and I term it is Susan needs a home to go back to, at some point. And so whether that's the right or wrong way to describe that, the truth of the matter is we need to hold that position until such time as there's additional clarity at the other end of the timeline.
I was just going to add, but I think obviously during the transition between now and until the time that you make the decision on how you want to proceed, I would continue with all of my responsibilities currently as a deputy of a director of administration, as well as the executive director.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, and your question was mostly like, do we need an interim deputy director of administration? And it sounds like the answer is no. We're okay, we're good.
Perfect. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify, make sure because we sort of put you both in the role we did without discussing with you previously. So I just want to make sure before we go making any new decisions that and especially since you've had time now to know what works and what makes sense. And I will reiterate what everybody else said, that it's been great. It's been fun working with the two of you and appreciate everything that you've done. And you definitely have created a cohesive unit, that's for sure.
I'd just like to say that you're up to the task.
So Dave suggested Susan. Susan, are you on board with this idea? Because we don't want to make a motion,
That's
then you say no. So then we're sitting here going, well, what's your backup
Too late. We made
plan?
That's true.
Well, Dave and I have kind of an inside joke that he's just a lot smarter than I am.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, Commissioner Dawson, yes, I am. And I so appreciate Dave, and I appreciate the Park District team, because you're right, this has been a team effort. Anytime there is notable change in an organization, it's hard. It's challenging. There's a lot of emotions that are involved, and our staff team came to work every day, business as usual. And I can't say enough for the great staff, dedicated, loyal staff that we have. So yes, I appreciate too the confidence not only that Dave has, but also that that the board has in my ability to lead the Park District here in the transition.
Good.
Thank you, Susan.
Another logistical question. So is it same pay structure, pay level, or does that typically change, or is there?
So when the last interim we had, we adjusted the income $1,000 a month.
Okay.
And so that would be my suggestion this time as well, if that makes sense to everyone or seems adequate.
And then what's that? Good.
I agree. That's
Okay.
good.
And I wrote a litany here of several sentences. Jeff, would I make one motion that has the three parts that I have, or should I make three separate motions?
Well, assuming everyone's on the same page, one motion would be sufficient, but if there was someone that maybe liked two of the three things that you have to say and not the third, then they would need to be separate motions. So tough to know until the vote comes. So you could do either one.
Okay, so I'll leave the money part separate and do the other pieces first. Does that make sense? So anybody have any other comments before I? Okay. I move to name Susan Foss the interim executive director of the Fargo Park District until a permanent executive director can be named. During that time, we will hold Susan's current position open.
I think we would say Deputy Director of Administration open, right? Just to,
Current position, the
Oh, yeah.
deputy director of administration position open.
Second.
It's been moved and, like, somebody going to deal with
Your
this?
job, your job.
because we don't technically have to take action for Dave, right? I mean, because Dave's Deputy Director of Operations, you still have that title or that role,
Yeah.
correct? So we don't have, yeah, so we're just
Yeah, you're-
taking action.
You're
We're just,
you're not going anywhere, are you?
we're just taking action. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Just to make sure we're clear on. Okay.
Any other discussion?
Yeah. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Jeff, please pull the board.
Commissioner Morgan,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch.
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Congratulations and thank you. And thank you, Dave.
Welcome.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to acknowledge compensation.
So then I'll make a motion to increase, I would say Susan Foss's compensation. So can we just say an additional $1,000 per, is it per month? Is that what it was? Per month? Okay, starting effective, would it be immediately, right?
Yep.
So it'd be the next pay cycle.
Does that work, Stacy?
Okay, it's been moved, is it somebody second? Yes?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adjust Susan Faust's compensation, adjusted up $1,000 during the interim period of her serving as the executive director. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Jeff, please pull the board.
Commissioner Morgan,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch.
Aye, motion carries. Anything else for the good of the order?
6:02, we got a budget hearing.
Ooh,
No.
So, Mr. President, if there isn't anything else, obviously we can just adjourn this meeting, or you can adjourn it, then call it back in, but we do have to hold the budget hearing at a time certain, so we need to proceed
So
with
should
that.
I mean, we're done, so.
yeah, motion to
Okay.
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, so moved. Call to order at 6:02 PM, our budget hearing.
Yeah, so, Mr. President, members of the commission, as part of the legislative mandated change several bienniums ago, public entities are required to hold a public budget hearing to give the public an opportunity to weigh in on budgets before final approval. So we did print the budget as preliminarily approved at the last meeting, and we've submitted that to the county. And at this point, if there's any public that would like to weigh in on that budget, this is their opportunity to do so. And then we take any of that feedback into consideration as we prepare for final approval in October.
Thank you, Brock. Is there anybody in the general audience that would like to speak to the budget?
With all due respect.
Please come up to the podium over here, please, sir, and give us your name and address.
And do we have the same
We'll
guidelines?
probably read those.
Yeah, I'll read the guidelines really quick one more time. At this time, the board will hear comments from the public. We ask that each speaker who has signed up to address the board come up to the microphone and state their name and address for the record. We would also ask that speakers refrain from using this forum to criticize or complain about a specific employee by name. The board is interested in your comments and will listen carefully, but is not obligated to respond or debate issues in this forum. Should you desire a written response to a specific question, you may request it. This evening, each speaker will be allotted a maximum of 3 minutes. As a point of order, if any speaker wishes to talk later in the agenda, no, that would be, otherwise the speaker may be, the Fargo Park Board President, however, does not have to engage in dialogue with the additional speakers. We ask that you respect this request and act accordingly. That being said, welcome. We're excited to hear from you. Please give us
Yes.
your name and your address.
My name is Charles Canning, spelled like Canning Jelly, Canning, 3718 21st Street South, Fargo, North Dakota, 58104. And here to speak on the budget. I realize the increase is pocket change, $82.73, but it's the percentage increase that concerns me. And it's a snowball rolling downhill with all the departments of Fargo. National surveys indicate that 61% of working people, working families, are living paycheck to paycheck. I think your budget increase, although it's pocket change, is still what, about 18% or more? And I don't know of any retirees or any working person receiving an 18% increase in pay. My suggestion, respectfully submitted, is to return this district to budgetary levels of January 2021, because none of us retirees or working people are getting these kind of increases. And it's a small amount, I know, from a dollar standpoint, but it's the principal thing I think is going to be disastrous. You're lighting a fuse on some things that are going around about eliminating property taxes. And this kind of thing in the whole city of Fargo is going to light that fuse, I'm afraid, and it could be detrimental to the city of Fargo. I appreciate your situation you and the rest of the city leaders are in. I saw the article in the Forum this morning. You're oftentimes caught between a rock and a hard place, but so are all we, the taxpayers. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I appreciate your comments. Thank you. Anybody else that would like to address from the public? Yes, sir. Please come on up.
I have one of those envelopes.
My name is Laverne Sandstead. I've worked for the city over 30-some years. And at the present rate, my taxes went up 234%. I can understand a little bit of increase, but at this rate, my house went up 18,000. After 7 years, my house is going to be worth $400,000. And you can't even sell the house now, but I like this. I understand taxes, but not 234%.
They went up 234% between your city, school, and parks?
Yep. Because last year, it was $1,147.82 that I had to pay because I'm over 80 and low income. And this year, it went up over $2,561. That's just in taxes. So how do you get it reduced? I only make $30,000 a year. So another 300 out of that money, it's got to go for that. So I have to give up something. So where do I go? What can I do?
Appreciate your comments, sir. Thank you.
What you're doing is driving everybody out of Fargo. And I'd like to stay out of nursing homes and assisted living, and that's why I stayed in my house.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to take the time to address Crown or to address the board?
Melvin Ellison, live at 3807 21st Street South, and didn't really prepare nothing, but in the same support as the neighborhood, it's the way the taxes went up. We recently moved to Fargo to enjoy city life for a change, and right away now it's looking scary with the taxes going up like they are. So it's definitely a concern for everybody.
Thank you.
So I believe if you look at your park taxes versus the other taxes on that sheet that you've gotten, I believe that the Fargo Park taxes versus the city and county taxes and the school board taxes are going to show a different adjustment than those other entities. So on my statement that I received a couple of days ago, my park taxes actually went down from last year. The proposed taxes for next year will be less than they are this year. And I don't know if that's reflective on the rest of you, but as a park board, we did not increase the tax rate for you. If your house was assessed at a higher level, which we don't do that, that may have caused some adjustment, but we did not increase the taxes that we are charging and the amount, the percentage we are charging to the Fargo taxpayer.
That makes sense. So we did reduce our mill valuation that we were looking to take. The fact that the valuation of the house went up dramatically has a bigger impact on that.
And it may, it may depend individually, but I know personally mine went down. It's going to depend too on what the assessed value of your house changes from year to year, and that's not something the park district controls. So we don't make the determination of what your house is assessed at.
Anyone else want to address the board? Okay, seeing no other people, can we adjourn the board? I'm
Before
sorry, go ahead.
I just make some comments here. I appreciate you coming in and talking to us about your concerns over taxes. I think that that resonates, and that's something as a board member that we need to think long and hard about decisions that we make to keep our tax base as low as possible, yet provide the amenities that our community wants. And it's a balancing act, and sometimes it's hard to see. And again, my heart goes out. I appreciate your concerns. I'm sure we could find a lot of other people that have the same concerns. But you guys took the time to come in and talk to us, and that's important. And thank you for that. But it's important for us as board members to hear that. And as we make our decisions in terms of what we, where we spend our money and how we proceed, it's valuable to have your input. So thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Any other comments? Entertain a motion to adjourn the budget hearing.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.